All right, we are recording. What's up, everybody? This is the Misguided Podcast, where we intend to guide you to a better future. My name is Juwan. We got Mikey on the call, but he's listening in. And I'm sitting here with real estate investor, Sean Pan. How's it going, man?
Hey, Juwan, thanks for having me on your show.
Of course, man. So I'll just give a little background of how I found you. One day I was looking up how to come up with creative financing on YouTube, and your name popped up, and I saw that you were kind of growing your YouTube. So I was like, oh yeah, I love people like that. Let me go ahead and click on your channel. And you pretty much broke down. I think it was the first video was a hard money loan. You pretty much broke down it in like 7 minutes. Like you touched on every step, everything. And it was super concise and super easy to understand. So then I kind of like started clicking around on your profile and I was like, oh snap, he's from the Bay Area. Like me too. Like, let's be friends. So yeah, I think I reached out from there and then started following you and yeah, started joining your meetups and everything. So that's kind of like how I found you. Now, go ahead and share how to the audience and let them know who you are and exactly what you do.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Sean Pan. I'm a real estate investor based here in the Bay Area. But before that, I was actually an engineer. But the thing was, when I was 21 years old, I was working at a large defense company. I was really excited to be there. But I realized that my coworkers did not share my same enthusiasm for their job. They were, 30 years older than me, working at a company that they didn't want to be in. They weren't very happy with the jobs they were doing. They weren't happy with the salary that they were getting paid with. Every day they would come here and being grumpy. And ultimately, they were doing the same job that I was doing as a 20-year-old kid. So I thought in my head, man, if I stay here, then 30 years from now, I'm going to be just like them, unhappy, unsatisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, okay, I have to do something to get out of this quote unquote rat race. And I just happened to be walking around Barnes & Noble one day, and I came across this little purple book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I read the book and I saw, oh my God, there's a different way of thinking that normal people do, right? If you want to be a quote unquote business person, then you have to buy assets. You have to own businesses. You don't just work and earn a salary. That's not how you can become financially free. Anyways, through there, I started browsing into how to create different businesses, different investment strategies. I started learning about real estate investing. And even though I read this book back in 2012, I didn't actually buy my first investment property until late 2016. But since then, I've purchased out-of-state rental properties. I flip houses here in the Bay Area. I host a podcast like yourself. I host a YouTube channel, meetup group, and I also do hard money lending. So it's been a very interesting ride, and yeah, happy to be on the show.
Yeah, that's super dope, man. Yeah, that book changed so many people's lives. We've talked about it every episode almost, so we're not gonna go into too much detail, but yeah, that's super. I mean, that's super cool to have like such an experience that's so simple, like you walking by Barnes and Nobles, and then that just changed your whole life. Even though it took you 4 years to get that first property, but now it's a snowball effect after you get your first one. They always say the first one's the hardest. Second one's probably the easiest. So right now I'm trying to get my first one. So, but yeah, no, that's amazing, man. Let's go ahead and touch up on all the stuff that you do. So let's talk about your podcast. What do you talk about on your podcast?
Sure. So my podcast is called the Everything Real Estate Investing Show with Sean Pan.
Okay.
And I basically get real estate professionals or real estate investors to come on the show and just talk about what they do in their business. So it's not just the big shot investors, but it's also like, the contractors or the people who do loans. So you want to know every facet of the real estate investing industry. You should understand what the other professions do. And I've been doing this for about 2.5 years now. I have over 200 episodes. And honestly, it's been game-changing for me personally, because when you have a guest on your show, you're basically getting an hour of free consulting, and you get to ask all the questions that you want to learn about. And the benefits also that you get to share that with your audience. So not only do I get free consulting, I get to share with the audience, and I build a network by being in the same room with some big real estate investor for like an hour plus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's definitely what we've learned. I mean, we've built connections. We've made, possibly future partners just by interviewing people. And so it's a great way to connect, but also a great way to share our stories and kind of figure this shit out, together. So because a lot of people say that investing alone is not the quickest way or not the easiest way, and they're 100% right. Like, you need a partner, you know what I mean, or you need a mentor in this game. And so if we're all going through it together, we're learning and bouncing ideas off each other and trying to find the best way. And it's not competition, you know? So
that's right.
Yeah. That's great, man. So podcast, got the YouTube. Go ahead. When did you start the YouTube?
Started the YouTube in June of 2019. And It's funny because I had the podcast first and I was doing it. It's pretty successful at the time. But then I had a call with someone called Graham Stephan. Are you familiar with who that is?
No.
Okay, so he's actually a pretty big guy in the YouTube space. Started as a real estate agent, selling multi-million-dollar properties down in LA, and then moved more into the real estate niche on YouTube, and pretty much blew up over the past couple of years. So he's actually making like $2 million a year just from YouTube. It's crazy.
Jesus.
Anyway, on the phone call with him, I was like, hell yeah, I had these issues because I had some projects going on at the time. I was like, I had some issues. What are your thoughts about it? Oh, the podcast, what are your thoughts about it? And he was saying, hey man, podcasts are great. But honestly, the problem with podcasts is they don't get spread. No one's really gonna know your podcast unless another friend tells them about it, or if they happen to be searching for it. Versus YouTube, where they would like push your video out if they think it's a good video. And so I thought, okay, cool. Like, it's just another platform to spread the personal brand. And that's how I got into YouTube.
Okay, cool. So did you just start posting your podcast, like recording your podcast sessions and then posting that on YouTube? Or how'd you come up with like doing those quick minute, what is a hard money loan? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the podcast and the YouTube channel have been pretty much separate the whole time. So podcasts are super long format, 1 hour plus whatever, 45 minutes. YouTube channel is probably, in the 7 to 12 minute range, and they're like different. So I don't usually have YouTube content on the podcast. I usually don't have podcast content on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your YouTube stuff is usually way shorter. I actually like that a lot. So I might start switching it up. That's great advice. Cause right now I just post the whole episode onto YouTube. But the
problem with that is that people don't usually like to watch just this kind of stuff on YouTube. They like to see like you talking, give them quick tips. Whereas for a podcast, it's cool because they're just driving or they're, at the gym anyway. So they don't mind listening to like an hour-long format.
Very true. Yeah, that's great. Cool. All right. So we got YouTube, we got podcasts. Let's go ahead and talk about your current work situation. Where do you work?
Yeah. So right now I work at Conventus Lending. It's a hard money lending company based in San Francisco. And it's funny because I actually got that job after I quit my full-time W-2 as an engineer. When I quit my full-time job as an engineer in June of 2019, I thought, all right, I'm done. I have enough income from my cash flow rental properties. I had people who were house hacking this home right here. So my cost of living was very, very low. And I thought, I'm done. I'm out of the rat race. Don't need to work ever again. But it just happened that because I had the YouTube channel, the podcast, the meetup groups, that one of my really good friends was like, hey, why don't you work with us to do hard money loans for your audience base, basically help them fund their deals. And I thought, okay, sounds great. I'm doing something that I already love and now I get paid to do it. So that's why I got another job as a hard money lender.
That's cool. So, okay, 2 questions off that. Why is it considered hard money? I didn't, your jobs are conventions. Why is it considered hard money? And then second, is it 1099? Like, are you a contractor for them or are you W-2 as well? Because you said
I'm actually a W-2 employee.
Oh, okay.
And the main reason is because if you are doing loans, then you have to be licensed, right? And I don't have a license to do it. I'm not a broker, so I can't just give out loans to random people. And that's why I have to work for the company to be able to do the loans. It's like a legal reason. It's great. Gotcha. It's great to be W-2, I guess the first question is, why is it called a hard money loan? And it's because the loan is based on the hard asset. So we're going to underwrite the value. We're going to underwrite the loan based on the value of the property instead of your own personal, borrowing strength. So we don't care about your income. We don't care about your debt to income ratio. We just care about if the property has enough
value, equity.
Exactly.
Cool. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Walk us through your step on if a investor wanted to get a loan with you guys. What's the process?
Sure. So if they're looking for a bridge loan, the maximum that we can lend right now is 80%. Back in the past, it used to be up to 90% of the purchase price. COVID has changed.
Before COVID, yeah.
Damn. So that's actually great. Back then you could buy $1 million house for just $100,000 down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then of course, I was working as an engineer. I was making six figures, but I couldn't get a loan for $900,000 to buy that $1 million home. But the hard money loan, they don't care about that.
No.
You just want to see that the value is there after you fix and flip the project.
Mm-hmm.
They also offer construction loans. So let's say that it needs another $100,000 in rehab costs. We can lend up to 80% of that construction fee as well.
Mm-hmm.
These loans are pretty short term, so usually only 12 months, and they're interest only loans. But the interest rates are higher compared to like a traditional loan that you would get from like Wells Fargo or Chase.
Yeah.
So these loans range from 8.5% to 10%. And then you pay 1% of that loan amount in origination fees as well.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But I mean, the point of getting a hard money loan is that you get it based on the value of the property and they close quicker. So those are the two key factors in why people get hard money loans.
Okay, cool. What kind of interest rates you guys offer?
Yeah, so it depends mostly on how much you're borrowing relative to the purchase price. So if you're trying to max out and get 80%, then your interest rates are going to be higher. So around the 8.5 to 10% range. But if you can scale back and put more money as down payment, then it becomes a safer loan for us and we can offer cheaper pricing for you guys. So that number can go down to like 7.5%.
Cool. Let's talk about the years you guys offer. 30 years, do you guys do interest only? And then after you answer that, go ahead and let people know if they actually stay with you, if people have actually stayed with you guys longer, or do they technically use it as a bridge loan and then refinance with someone else?
Yeah, so there's two loans that we offer. One is the bridge loan, which is the ones I was talking about earlier, where it's a 12-month interest only loan. The other one that we offer is the one that we've been talking about, personally. That's the long-term rental loan program. So that one's a relatively new one. It only came out a couple of months ago. And one is a 30-year loan. So it's not just 12 years interest only. It's 30 years. You can decide how you want to be, like how the interest rate changes. So we have a 30-year fixed version. We have a 7-1 ARM, 5-1 ARM, and then we also have a 10-year interest only version. So it might be kind of confusing, but basically 30-year fixed is here's the interest rate. This is the same interest rate that you're going to pay for the rest of the time that you own this loan. The other one is a 7-1 ARM, which means that for the first 7 years, you're paying this fixed interest rate. And then every year after that, it can change based on whatever the index is doing. 5-1 ARM, same thing, where it's 5 years fixed, and then every year it changes. And then we also have a 10-year interest only version, which is where the first 10 years is interest only. And then the next 20 years, you pay out the loan. So it's 20-year amortized.
Yep.
The reason why you want to do that one is because for those first 10 years, your
cash flow.
Your cash flow is crazy.
Crazy.
But then, of course, at the 20-year mark, it increases like crazy. But by then, you could always refinance or sell the property. We don't know what's going to happen after the first 10 years.
No, yeah, I do. When I heard that I was like, that's a great deal, because me and Mike we love cash flow. The cash flow on the properties is what's key for us. So, and then obviously just refinance. But how? Let's talk about that though. Prepayment penalties.
Yes.
What are your guys's?
So for the bridge side, there's no prepayment penalty. You can get a fix and flip loan and then sell it the very next day, no problem.
Okay.
But for the 30-year loans, they come with the default of 3 years of prepayment penalty. So that means that if you refinance or if you sell the property within those first 3 years, you do have to pay us a prepayment penalty. And the way that you get paid is it's only like a step down process. So if you sell your property or refinance in the first year, then you're gonna have to pay 3% of the loan amount as a prepayment penalty. Then if you sell it the next year, then it's only 2%. And then if you sell it the next year, then it's only 1%. And then after that, there's no more prepayment penalty. And if you want to lower your interest rate, you could actually opt in for a higher prepayment penalty of 5 years. Mm-hmm. So the first year is 5, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0.
Cool. That's great. I actually didn't know about the part where you can opt in and lower your interest rate. That's pretty good. Okay, cool. So let's talk about like the process for a person wanting to obtain one of these loans. What is kind of like, is there any pre-screening? Because, normally when you go to a lender, they ask you for all these documents. Can I get 2 years, your tax returns, 2 years of your bank statement, or 2 months of your bank statements, etc. So they ask for all this information just to pre-qualify you. And then they ask for way more information to make sure you can actually afford this home. How do you guys go about it?
That's right. So like I mentioned before, we only care about your debt to income ratio. We care about the property itself. So for the bridge side, we really only care about your credit score and how much you have in liquid funds. So we want to see that you have enough money for your down payment, your closing costs, your rehab costs, and 6 months worth of your interest payments. Now that changes a little bit for the long-term rental loan, only because we can't do rehab loans for the long-term rental program. So if the property does need rehab work, then we can't give you a long-term rental loan. It has to be ready by day one. So we just want to see if you have enough money for the down payment, closing costs, and interest payments.
What's considered rehab? Is cosmetic fixes?
Yeah, cosmetic is okay. Basically, like if you're buying a long-term rental property, right?
Can you live in it? Yeah.
Yeah. Can someone live in it right now?
Right now. Okay.
And if you want to then, like make it nicer after you close, that's your business. But if we go in there and we see, oh, dude, this kitchen's messed up, like we can't give you the loan on that property.
Do you, so yeah, I know you guys don't only do in California. So everyone listening, they I think they have about 20, correct me if I'm wrong, but last time I looked, it was about 20.
Yeah, it's about 30 different states. And 30, if you guys want to see the full list, you can go on the website, cvlending.com/programs. And it shows us a little state of the US and all the different states that we can lend in.
Yeah. They pretty much do all the good states you want to go into anyway. So, but yeah, I believe, do you send people in? So if say I did a loan with you in Indiana, do you send people into the house before closing?
So there is an appraisal process that someone goes into the house and does the inspection and then kind of gives us a report on the value.
Just like a normal appraisal. Okay. Yeah. Cool. I had another question that was good for that's good. Let's go ahead and talk about credit score. So is there a minimum?
So for the bridge loan, the minimum credit score is 620. And then after like 760 or so, then you get our best rates. For the for the long-term rental loan, the minimum is 660, but at 660, you're limited to how much you can borrow. So like the loan to value is usually 80% on a purchase, but if you only have a 660, then you can only borrow up to 70% LTV, and the rates are really high. So it's in your best interest to have as high as a credit score as possible.
Yeah.
Because the rates drop a lot actually. So yeah, and those go from 660 all the way up to 760. So past 760, you already got our best scores or best rates.
Nice. That's cool. Well, yeah. I mean, this all sounds great for people. Who is this mainly for? Let's go ahead and talk about that. Who are these loans mainly for?
Yeah. So first of all, it's not for people who want to buy the property to live in. These are business only loans and can't be used for owner occupancy. Number two, if you're able to qualify for a traditional loan, like if you have a strong W-2, you don't have a lot of debt, and you can just get a normal loan for like 3.5 or 4%, definitely go there, right? But this loan is mostly for people who either have too many loans already. So if you already have 10 loans, then you just can't get another loan from the bank. Yeah. If you have, non-conforming income, like if you're a commission or if you own your own business, or you just change careers, for like myself, I changed from engineering to loans. So I can't get a loan for 2 years. That's where this product is for.
Yep. Okay, cool. So entrepreneurs like yourself listening, definitely check out Conventus. What's the website where they can go to again?
Yeah, so it's Conventus Lending. You can check it out at cvlending.com.
Cool. How long have you guys been in business?
They've been in business for about 5 years now and done over $2 billion worth of origination in that time.
Nice. Crazy. That's a lot of money. A lot of commissions. That's cool. Have you yourself used them?
Yes, that's actually how I got started. So a couple of years ago, I was flipping houses here locally in the Bay Area, and my really good friend was my hard money lender. And then eventually I introduced her to a bunch of people. So that's why she was like, oh, come to just work for us. And I was like, yeah, cool. Sounds good.
Nice. Cool.
I mean, I've used other hard money lenders in the past, and experiences vary a lot. So I think that's why, even though money at the end of the day is a commodity, if rates are equal, you want to go with people who you can really work with and you can make sure that they get the deal done. And if there's any hiccups, they're going to work with you to get problems solved. Yeah. Because man, like I was working on a deal and this hard money lender just like ghosted me in the middle of our deal. And I was like, what the, like it was really bad. Yeah, it was really bad, but it worked out, but that experience was just terrible.
Yeah. How long did it take for them to close for you when you used them as a hard money loan?
You're talking about Conventus or the other company?
No, Conventus.
Oh, Conventus was good. I mean, we've always had really reasonable timeframes. So I never had to really push it. But since I've been working there, I've seen us close in deals as fast as 7 days.
No,
So
there you go. Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
That's really good.
If you need it done, it can get done.
Cool. I like that. If you need that's gonna be the name of the episode. If you need it done, it'll get done. Nice. So let's go ahead and talk about your properties. I mean, you first mentioned you started off investing, and that's how you got into Conventus. So let's go ahead and talk about how'd you acquire your first property?
Yeah, so I came back to the Bay Area in 2016. I was in LA for the past 7 years before that. And since then, I was like, all right, I'm going to make this real estate thing a real thing. And so what I did was I started joining all these different local meetup groups. And by going to local meetup groups, I just learned about out-of-state real estate investing, how to analyze deals, and where I should be investing. So from that list, I did more due diligence, more research, and eventually found Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville has, similar climate to what we have here in the Bay Area. No crazy snowfall and no crazy tornadoes. Yeah, well, they do have hurricanes.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got those.
But back then I didn't think hurricanes were that big of a deal.
But we got fires though, so
we got fires and earthquakes, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I went on Bigger Pockets. I found my boots on the ground team by just calling a bunch of people, and honestly, I just found a deal on the MLS. My agent said it to me. He said this thing was listed for $100,000. But it's been sitting on the market for a long time. There's a tenant that lives in the property, which makes it less attractive for regular people who want to live in the home themselves. It's basically only an investor who can buy that property. And so I offered them, a lowball offer. And through that lowball offer, they actually accepted it. So I got it for around $78,000. Honestly, it's nothing too crazy, but it's a solid base hit. That's what I like to say. And, it took me a year. It took me a year of going to meetups, listening to podcasts, going to conferences before I actually pulled the trigger and bought my first property.
How'd you get out of that analysis paralysis, if you had any, during that year? So you did your year of studying, but how'd you actually, put that first step forward and put that down payment on that house? What made you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like peer pressure, right? You hang out with real estate investors for a whole year. Every time you go to a meetup, they go, "Oh, hey, what kind of investing do you do?" And you go, "Yeah. Like I'm an aspiring investor, I want to be one day," but they're like, "Oh, you haven't done anything yet? All right, cool, bye."
I've definitely
it's a bad feeling, right?
Yeah, it's a bad feeling. I've been there. Yeah, that's good. So just kind of peer pressure. Oh man, using that as motivation. You hear that, audience? Use that as motivation. No, that's really cool. So let's talk about kind of where we're headed in the future. Where do you see 2020? It's so weird to say this year, 2021, with the real estate market. You think it's going to be outperforming the stock market?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, the stock market has been going bonkers lately, right? Have you seen
bonkers.
Tesla right now and
bro, Bitcoin, you got to talk to Mike about Tesla. He's literally posts every day because he invested a lot into it, and he's he loves it right
now.
Nah. Just nah. But just he's up though. But it's just it's crazy. Yeah, Tesla is.
It's crazy. So, anyways, the stock market means that people have more down payment, right? So they can afford to buy these houses. Interest rates are still super low, and that means that people can afford to buy these houses.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, I did some market research on our Bay Area market, and the homes in the East Bay, homes in the South Bay are still doing pretty good. But condos and townhouses in the peninsula or in San Francisco are getting hurt really badly. And that's just, like people leaving.
People aren't going to the office anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Like why pay so much for a small condo in SF when, it's like not the best place to be. And you don't need to pay to be that close to work anyway, right? So go get a nice big house in East Bay.
Yeah. Right now the top two markets I think in the Bay Area are Sacramento and Stockton, which I wish Mike could talk about Stockton, but he just bought a house there last month. And it's doing great. But yeah, I look like every day, and those are the top two markets right now. The Sacramento is so hot that every time you call a real estate investor or a real estate agent, they're like so busy. And as soon as the house hits the market, it's gone within like 12 hours in Sacramento.
I'm interested to see what Prop 19 does for our market. Are you familiar with what Prop 19 is?
Go ahead and talk about it so the audience knows.
Yeah, so there's this thing called Prop 13 that keeps your property taxes really low. And Prop 19 is a way that if you sell your property, you could actually keep that low basis for other properties that you buy. Like if you're an older person. The difference is with Prop 19, you can do it up to 3 times, whereas before you can only do it 1 time. And the thought is, okay, we're opening up the market. It's going to be more liquid. So we're thinking there's going to be more properties that are going to go on the market in April of 2021. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, true. And then what I haven't kept up with the 1031 exchange. Are they planning on getting rid of that still? I know Biden's team wanted to, but
yeah, I think there's talks, but nothing set in stone or nothing official yet.
That would be a game changer for everyone. That would be, yeah. But yeah, super informative. Yeah, I think like it's hard to compare the real estate market and stock market, but my best way of comparing the two is always you can do more as an individual when you're invested in real estate, as opposed to putting your money in the stock market and just, it's like almost gambling in a sense, because you can't do anything about it. You just hit, click, buy, and then you have to watch it grow or go down. Real estate, to me, there's so many ways you can kind of intervene. You can be a landlord, your own property manager, you can fix and flip, you can put in the effort to make the money. So
that's right.
And if you're not putting in the effort in real estate, then real estate's not for you. You know what I mean? That was a bad gamble for you. So that's why I like real estate. I think real estate's gonna outperform the stock market in 2021. I also think we're gonna go into a recession. So I think both will fall, but I think it's a great time for investors to buy. And then at the end of 2021, boom, shoot up. So
yeah, as long as you're able to hold on to the property and it provides enough cash flow to cover all the expenses, then even if there's a recession and the value of the property goes down, you should be okay.
Well, and if you're able to kind of, go through that roller coaster, you probably want to go through that roller coaster. You probably want some downs in a recession, because that means your money's going to triple. So
yeah, if you have the ability.
If you have the ability. Yeah. Don't take that if you don't have the ability, but yeah. No, definitely. Well, we're wrapping up pretty soon. We usually do a segment called Guided Conclusions, where I ask you one question that I haven't talked to you about before. It could be funny, serious, but today's question is just super simple. What is your end goal with real estate? Like completely, where do you want to be, your end goal?
Yeah, I mean, my end goal is to buy just a bunch of apartment complexes or rental properties to provide passive cash flow, so that we don't have to worry about, working or even living here. We can potentially just have all this passive income, and then I don't have to do YouTube, I don't have to do podcasts, I don't have to do hard money loans. All that can go away, and we'd be totally okay with that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's same here, bro. Same here. We'll get there. Takes time. Yeah, we're still young. How old are you, man?
I just turned 31.
Oh, what? Yeah, you look good for 31, man. For sure. Thought you were in your 20s. Damn, dude. Balling over there. What skin cream you using, man? You gotta share it. Nah, man. Congrats, man. You look good. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the episode, man. I appreciate you for coming up here on the Zoom and kind of sharing your knowledge. Like I said, I've been following you for a couple months now, so I appreciate all the stuff you're doing and the information you're providing people who want to get started. So yeah, go ahead and shout out all your Instagrams, your TikToks, your everything.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is @IM_Sean Pan, SEANPAN. If you guys have any questions about hard money loans or investing in out-of-state properties, you can reach me directly at sean@everythingrei.com. That's SEAN@everythingrei.com. Again, you can find me on YouTube. My meetup group is meetup.com/everythingrei. And if you guys are looking to buy your first out-of-state rental property, we're actually coming out with a course called Remote Rental Riches. So feel free to reach out for that as well.
Oh, I like that name. Nice. You heard him here, man. Hit him up. Like I said, I appreciate it, man. This is the Misguided Podcast, where we intend to guide you to a better future. My name is Juwan. I'm sitting here with Sean Pan. Make sure you reach out to him and learn some more stuff. That's it, everybody. We'll talk to you later.